Hello everyone. I'm continuing the video about the gods, and how they should be added on world box. But I'm going to be talking about what the gods would, more things that the gods could do. Number one is mischief. Yes. Now yeah. Let's be real here. The gods that cause the most mischief are the Roman and Greek gods. Let's be real. There, a lot of it has been lost in translation, but depending on what you believe in, Zeus is the one that caused World War One and Two. And this is not me who's saying it. This is a guy who died many few thousand years ago. So don't even think about talking about me about it, May. Okay, May? So get up on my face about it. I'm warning you, if you don't like what might be said, do not watch this. Zeus made the first ever woman to do. There's two things that people most believe in. To open the jar of the box or jar, which either one you believe in. I'm gonna say jar. The jar of Pandora, which causes mischief, or Zeus was like, hey, congratulations about getting married. Congratulations. Here's this jar. Don't open it. I'm not gonna tell you why. It's very jar-like, but it has stuff in it, like my browser history, and that's going to destroy the world if you open it. He didn't say that last few parts, but let's pretend he did. And she was like, alright, okay, thanks, I guess. A few years later, she's like, hey, yo, what's in this box? Opens it, and voila! The golden age has gone away. And that's what I'm talking about. Now, gods and their mischiefs. Now, since gods are, gods, they can possess godly abilities. I don't want gods to be added into the game and they're just like war machines. No, I want them to be the cause of the war. I don't want them to just be like, hey, I don't like you, and then they just go to war. No, I don't want that. I want them to be the cause of wars themselves. Like, let's say let's say a human went to a god to trade with them, and the god just straight up murders him, just in cold blood. That could be a cause of a war. And there's another thing that I want to talk about. Actual damaging, like you can see the damage, like right where these two are, you can see like where a unit got damaged, like a hammer to the rib cage, a spear to the arm, broken legs, something like that. But that's the minor thing I'm talking about. The big thing I'm talking about is gods in their mischiefs. Which is really hard to talk about because I barely know any mischiefs that gods do. But I'm just gonna be splatting out things that I think should be added. So don't get mad at me. If you are watching this right now, which I doubt you are, continue watching it, because a lot of you guys just watch the beginning and then never watch the end, and I have a lot of fun stuff at the end. So if you got this far, at least watch to the end, please. I'm not asking you to like and subscribe. I'm just asking you to watch to the end. So, gods and their mischiefs. Gods, once again, will only settle for the best, but they will create the worst. Like, gods will be able to create monsters, and That's where the apocalypse mode comes in. World laws, apocalypse mode. That should be added. For a good reason, too. Because in apocalypse mode, the gods will create much worse things. They won't just go around creating monsters, no. They'll create buildings that create monsters. Like bloody dungeons. And whoever can pass the dungeon will be granted a random good trait and random good loot. Like, let's say some elf actually gets past the dungeon without dying. And you might be like, how will we see the inside of the building? How will we see the inside of the dungeon? That's why you should watch all my videos. Because I already talked about that in my last video. It's not my fault that you didn't see it. You didn't want to see it. So don't blame that on me. Blame it on yourself. And dungeons will have random monsters. And by the way, more monsters should be added. Because bears, rats, and a wolf, a few random people, aren't going to be enough to stop a team of, like, strong, blessed people. Let's be real. So more monsters should be added. Come on now. Dungeons, yeah. Dungeons, gods will create dungeons of their own doing. And this is where mythical monsters come in. Yes. Bet you never saw that coming. Now, a lot of gods, except for the Egyptian gods, I don't know if the Egyptian gods created any monsters. Type in the comments below if they did, and I'll talk about that in the next video. But if they did, they'll create their own monsters. Now, dungeons spawn monsters, but they can also be, like I said before, looted and destroyed. Dungeons can be spawned manually, but if you don't want to do that, you can wait like 2 years in game, and then a god will create a dungeon. And I'll show you how easy it is to go past 2 years. Just like clockwork. Just like that. So dungeons will spawn monsters and can be destroyed. And also, glosso. Gods can create different races by mixing them together. Bet you never see that coming. So that means you can see a orc that is mixed with an elf to create a totally different race. A dwarf mixed with an orc. They have their own special traits. But they can also create their own races. I said that already. But I mean original races. I mean, okay, listen. You listening, dog? You better be listening. So, let's say this, the multi-race thing. You can only spawn the races manually, but the gods can spawn them themselves. That means a god can literally go to a random village, spawn like a dark elf, and then go on with his day. Like nothing happened. Yeah. Sorry, I need a responsible life in this new world. Give me a second. There. So, let me speed up time for you to see how everything works in full time. But anyway, so what was I talking about? Gods can also create cursed weapons. Cursed weapons are a thing on their own. Because cursed weapons can do one of two things. Create very bad things for the person who's holding it, Or if a person has the trait of cursed immunity, the cursed weapon will just be a very great weapon. A weapon that's better than legendary if a person has cursed immunity. Curse can do a multitude of things. It can summon creatures. It can destroy the world around it. And it can heal people. Yes, you heard it right. Blessed weapons basically do the same thing, just with less bad things happening. If someone doesn't have the power to hold a blessed weapon, the blessed weapon will literally blow up in their hands, killing whoever's holding it and the people around it. Crazy, right? That means they fixed the people switching to bad things, but they didn't fix it for switching to good things. So that means a king can literally pick up a blessed weapon and not be able to handle it, and it will blow up himself and his army. Yeah, bet you never thought of that before, have you? Yeah. Another thing. Cursed and blessed. I already talked about that. Give me another second to think. I just made this video. I'm just coming up with ideas. Give me a second to think. The mythological monsters. We talked about this. They get spawned in dungeons and everything. But you can also spawn them manually. The thing is, there's some that cannot be spawned in dungeons unless the gods work on a super dungeon that spawns things that are above the norm. That means you can see the world serpent being spawned like in a corner, and he'll just go around accidentally destroying things. Because the world serpent isn't bad. He isn't bad. He'll accidentally kill you without his knowledge, but he's not bad. And let's say a monster like Medusa, yeah. And giants. Giants can be spawned in dungeons, but not in the way you think. See, in Norse mythology, giants are human sized. They're just disgustingly strong and disgustingly fast. They're not gigantic. They're not tall. They're just really strong and really fast. That's all I know. Don't get mad at me, please. But the dungeon giants are gigantic. They're tall. And they have magic abilities like fire and ice. Some have the power to control the earth itself. And that's how the earth and ice giants get around. It doesn't matter how deep the water is. The ice giant will literally cool down this entire area by himself just to walk across it and kill these people. The earth giant is the complete opposite. It summons plains, not plains, soil. It summons soil. It'll just walk right across the ocean, creating floor below it. Fire giants, if they're in a landlocked area, they'll just stay there. They don't need food, but they can eat. They don't get hungry fast, that's what I'm saying. That means they could just stay in this corner for years. And then once they get hungry, they could literally just... There was a wolf here, but they could literally just eat the wolf. They could eat the chick. How's there a chicken here? There's no... There she is. No, that's the same chicken. You are a master of trickery. Anyway. Coming back once I get more ideas. New idea. New idea. That took me like a minute to think of it. But disasters. You might be thinking, there's natural disasters. No. I'm talking about. Well, this video is continuing on the gods. So, I'm talking about God disasters. That means gods can naturally get madness. Give me a second. Can naturally get madness, but they won't show it until they meet a different race. That means, elves can start trading with them, right? And a god with natural madness will leave its nation, live in a random area, and start killing whoever lives there in the oddest ways possible. An elf going to colonize somewhere, guess what? He gets smited by lightning. A human going to go hunt a wolf, guess what? A human going to hunt a wolf, guess what? He gets hit by an earthquake. A dwarf going around trading with some nations, guess what? A tornado hits him. the And there could be a madness god that has better range. Yes, madness gods have ranges. That means if a god gets his madness activated, he could literally attack the whole world. The entire world. From a corner in the world. That means you could have a god that lives here in like in ruins, right? He has the range to cover the entire world. That means you'll see an earthquake here, a tornado there, a bloody lightning strike here. This is crazy. And if new disasters do get added, which most likely they are, like a tsunami hits here, bro. Like a flash flood hits here. If a god has the range of the world, nobody will be safe. And like I said, a disaster will happen. A god-caused disaster. But you can have gods that don't have the range of the world and have the range of a few feet. See, these will be weak madness gods. Because humans and other humanoids can land hits on him if they are fast enough. That means the madness god can die, but some cannot die as easily. See, people will immediately be alerted once a madness god comes. So that means they will randomly send out soldiers to attack the madness god and try to kill him. So that means, like, once this world gets more developed, and they have hundreds upon hundreds of soldiers, depending on the madness god's range, the fight will be over in a instant. If the madness god has the range of the world and the dwarves send out 100 soldiers to swim across here and then go up through the elves and get to the island, they'll be dead once they set their feet on the water. Because the madness god can easily just summon a tsunami to hit them. Or let's say these elves have to just take a short run up to the island. If they make it to the island while being hit by a tsunami, they'll just be hit by an earthquake or a tornado. The madness gods are insane. I'm telling you, bro. And if seeing people's wounds get added, that will be beautiful to see, because you'll just see like an elf soldier getting hit by a tornado, scratches by tornado, or birds from lightning strike. You'll see the most intricate things that you'll ever see, and it'll make Worldbox more interesting. Because right now you're just watching humans and elves and dwarves and orcs just fight. Then you can just add random elements to it. But I want to see the gods, the mythical creatures, just do the work for me in the most honest ways possible. I don't want to be the one that spawns all that crap myself. I want something else to do it. And the madness gods are just the way to do it. So you can create the madness gods yourself. Like I said, the madness gods will stay in its nation until it meets a different race. So that means you can create a whole nation of madness gods, and once like someone gets too close, that entire nation just starts going bloody livid. And I'll tell you this in my head right now. Madness gods having more than one, depending on its range, will just cause an entire world-ending event. Because if there's two with the power to attack the entire world, everything's over. You'll see multiple of everything happening. You'll see like 200 tornadoes hit this one spot at once. You'll see like 2 earthquakes hit the water and create like 3 tsunamis hitting random spots of the world. The world will not be able to come back from the complete dangers of the 2 madness gods. I'm gonna tell you this. You might be asking, well, what if the madness gods stop going on their killing spree? The madness gods will... 2 things will happen to the madness god. The madness starts to get taken away slowly. Every year passes, the madness will slowly disappear, which means the natural disasters will stop. Yes, that's another thing. Natural disasters that actually take time, like meteors and all that, will stop. Tornadoes will continue until the madness of the god stops. Tsunamis will continue until the madness of the god stops. Everything will abruptly stop and the god will create its own nation. That means that's a second way to create two nations of the same gods. A madness god can chill out, and you can just spawn them. You can just spawn 2 different nations. And so, another thing. Come on, work with me here. Brain, work with me here. Gods. I mean, like, gods that actually help humans will be the most weirdest gods to see, because madness gods and what shall I call them? Blessed gods? Just work with me here. I have nothing else to call them. Divine light gods. How about that? That sounds better. They will help humans in the most odd ways possible. That means you could see a divine light god and a madness god at the same setting. A divine light god will just stop the tornadoes and create land and animals for the humans to eat. And you'll see that peaceful god gets struck with bloody lightning. Yes, madness gods and divine light gods do fight. A divine light god, multiple can be in one nation. That means the divine light gods were literally made for the one purpose to help humans for 2 purposes. Help humans and destroy madness gods. That means you'll see a divine light god go around defeating humans while slowly but surely making their way to the madness god. Let's say he's right here. And the biggest battle that you'll see in Worldbox history will happen. Because if the divine light god does make it to the, this is another thing that I want to talk about. Gods have this insane knockback. And I'm talking about insane for a good reason. Uh, a god can literally will do 80 damage and knock a unit back to here. That means a god with a hammer can hit a unit from here, dog. From bloody here to all the way up here. So you'll see the most honest fight happen. Just them knocking each other back disgustingly far with multiple different element powers. The divine light god hits the madness god with a lightning. It just gets launched all the way up here. And the madness god hits the divine light god with an earthquake. Each power does different knockback. That means the lightning barely does any. The earthquake does the most, and earthquake will most likely hit a unit from here to here. And there's a good reason for that. Because if they're gods could be evil. There could be evil nations. It depends on the king. But a unit that has the power of blessed, being blessed by the unit gods, is completely different than being blessed by the you. Because being blessed by the human gods, by the unit gods, gives them the power of being a demigod or a hero. A hero is just a human with strength, speed, and good knockback. A demigod is just a weaker form of gods. They're everything that a god is, just slightly weaker. That means humans could easily deal with a demigod. They could easily overpower him. But a god, like I said in my last video, can destroy a nation full. One god can destroy a village full of 100 people. Two gods can kill like 300 people by themselves. So that's something else. But gods will mostly fight evil gods, and depending on if they made the monsters themselves. Because if they made the monsters themselves, they won't attack them. But if they didn't, they will attack them because gods are overpowering in this game. Let's say that. Gods are overpowering. They want control of everything. So that means if there's naturally spawned monsters, they will kill them and replace them with monsters they created themselves to have power over the people and what they do. Like a bloody. I don't think there's any like sea creature that I know of that's been created by the gods. But let's say a gigantic shark. If a gigantic shark naturally spawns, a god that has the name of a certain. Another thing that I just thought of. Gods that have names of other gods. That means gods can have random names like let me show you. Gods can have random names like this guy, random choose. This girl, they can have random names like hers, or they can have names of gods themselves, and they will be granting the power of that god that they got the name of, and their damage will be boost. Their magic will be boost. Big boost, baby. That means if a god was named Thor, that god will use mostly a hammer and will do disgusting lightning power. That means any god can have a hammer and use lightning magic, but If a god is named Zeus and they have lightning magic, that does a lot of knockback. And if you're not a god, will kill you instantly. It doesn't matter what health you have. The only thing that can save you is your armor. That means you have to have good armor to survive a lightning blast by a god named Thor. That means the lightning blast does 100 damage. 100, baby. If any humanoid is named after a god, they will immediately become a hero. And they will work for their nation without being created by the gods or being chosen by the gods. That means they will willingly fight the gods without even caring about it. That's a crazy idea. Like the god of war. He will instantly kill people. If a god is named Ares, he will instantly kill people. Or if they survived, they will be knocked back to oblivion. That means if they survive, they will not fight him again. Or if they do, they'll be like, let's say a 16-year-old in this game fights the god of Ares, fights the god of war. He gets hit and he survives. He gets hit literally from here to any random direction to the nearest country. That means it doesn't matter if you survive. Most likely, if you do go back, you'll be around the age of 30. 30, yes, 30. You might be saying gods are overpowered. Yeah, they are. But that's the fact why they're peaceful. The only unpeaceful parts about them is if they become, if they're madness gods, or, evil gods are madness god nations. That means they'll all disperse immediately once they encounter a different, race. That's what, evil gods are. Don't get it twisted. They're not gods that fight everybody. But it's very rare to see any gods go to war with anything. Most likely, they'll just create monsters to do it themselves. That means if a god does start fighting humanoids, the humanoids will number the god by a lot. And I mean a lot. Because once a god does go to war with a nation, that nation's friends will immediately declare war on that god's nation. That means you have close to 1,000 soldiers fighting a god nation with 100 people. That they're gonna at least kill 3 gods. And there's what technology comes in. People say Modern Age isn't going to be added into the game. But if you're gonna add gods, if you're gonna add planes, you have to add guns. And people be like, Modern Age isn't coming to the game. Okay. Fully auto crossbows. You're like, but that's Modern Age. Shut your mouth. It is not. Because it has been added, I think it was like in China or somewhere around China. Some person created a fully auto crossbow. And it's even in tabs. I think someone created it. If they did it, wow, I'm confused. Oh, holy H. But there's ways to destroy the gods. Like being a hero that is named after a god. Your powers won't be as strong as the gods. But you'll have enough power to be able to kill 10 gods. And that's where battle tactics come in. But we're going to talk about that later. Retreating. This is a way to keep your soldiers. And a way to keep your heroes. Yes, I can't believe anybody in the Roblox community has thought about this. I'm completely disgusted. But they should have battle tactics. Because heroes, are made by the gods and naturally chosen by the world itself, by their parents, will be their own little army. Cause if a hero meets another hero, that hero will join the other hero, and they'll just start randomly collecting random soldiers around the world. That means, and the hero will fit their country's ideals if they're naturally chosen by name. That means Thor could be in this nation, which is taking over the world right now, and he'll be totally fine with it. He will not care. He'll just fight with the nation because he's born there. And here's another hero that is randomly chosen, but it's very rare. The Avatar. You might be saying, "Shut up! You watch too much Avatar." But if you watch my other idea series, there's a good reason why you should add it. The Avatar is basically a god. He is one of the gods, but he or she will not create any nations. They'll just sit and do nothing until a nation gets too big and are declaring too many wars. Then they will destroy the nation until they're small. That means he will attack the capital, attack everything here, but only leave this spot. The Avatar will also attack madness gods and bad gods. And he will be the balance of the world. There are divine light gods, but if they attack the Avatar, they will lose immediately. I cannot express this enough. They will lose in a second because the Avatar has control of the elements. The gods have too, but if there's a neutral god that has been living in the elements for immortality, that means he could be living in the elements for thousands of years without having any trouble. He will naturally level up. And that means he'll become more dangerous the more you leave him alone. That means he can only spawn like weak tornadoes that do no damage and just take you away to a random area. But if you leave him alone for 1,000 years, this is why infinite levels should be added. Because first of all, that's another way to create a hero. Because if someone's immortal and their nation has gone to war for 1,000 years, and they're named after a god, gods get natural levels. By the way, they get levels for just doing random deeds. That means a god can build a bloody dungeon, and depending on how many monsters kill people, they'll get levels for it. But the Avatar, baby, he could sit around do nothing, and he'll become naturally stronger. And there is a Avatar state. Yes, boy. The Avatar will glow. He'll just glow, and he'll become unstoppable. The only time someone can stop him is if 100 gods attacked him, all with their magic abilities. That's the only time they could ever defeat him. Because he will throw multiple attacks at the same time when, like, an earthquake and a bloody tsunami could hit the area at the same time. And imagine how much damage that would cause. And there's two types of Avatar states. There's Aang's Avatar state, and there's Korra's Avatar state. Korra's Avatar state is slightly weaker, but Korra's Avatar state will be stronger. It will be as strong as Aang's if they are low health. Aang's Avatar state only starts when the character is low health. That means they have to be 30 health or below in order to access Aang's Avatar state. Korra's Avatar state will only glow the basic areas like the arms, the head, and the legs. Arms for strength, head for dodge. I mean, really? Really, me? Let me see if there's any. Head for health, and legs for dodge. Aang's Avatar state will literally glow his entire body. Head for health. Arm everything gets boosted way more than Korra's Avatar state. That means Aang can dodge faster. Aang has way more health in his Avatar state. And he's 30 times stronger. That means another thing. He could literally hit this guy. He'll instantly die. No matter who it is. If the Avatar goes into the Avatar state. Sorry. The Avatar state should be like a trait. It shouldn't be a name. Because that's really rare. But a trait is rarer. But it'll make it better. So that means Aang could literally almost insta-kill whoever he's fighting in his Avatar state. It doesn't matter if you're a god. If the Avatar goes into the Avatar state, it's done. The fight's over. You lost. That means, and like I told you before, the Avatar only fights to balance the world. So if you're an evil god, a madness god, you could literally get him so close to death, he'll go into his Avatar state. And he will destroy everything just to kill you. And since all the elements are in the game right now, except for air, but air could be like force, but deadly force. Yes, Queen. If fire is here, the world, if the area once the Avatar is at, and the people are bad, I can't tell you how destroyed the lands will be. But that's where after the battle takes in, because you could easily see this whole area. The Avatar state does boost radius of attack too. That means this whole spot that's on screen right now can just be destroyed in a matter of seconds, just because they set off the balance of the world. And you know how I feel about balance. I don't want to have to put it on myself. So why not have an Avatar to do it for me? This was right here, the save spot right here, which the elves were taking over, but I had to nuke to stop them from taking over the whole world. The Avatar could literally do that by himself faster than me. And I don't need to destroy the whole entire land just to stop the elves. The Avatar could literally destroy the whole land. The Avatar could destroy the whole land and then bring it back like nothing happened. But we're going to be talking about that later. This video's getting too long. I'll see you guys later. Watch until the end, please. I'll see you guys later. Bye.